Okay, people. So we have another joint from Signature Entertainment. It is The Inspection. Okay. So this is the feature directorial debut from Elegance Bratton, who also wrote the film. It is produced by F.E.T. Brown and Chester Algernon Gordon. Executive produced by Kim Coleman, Nina Volkov, Melanie and Adam Lewis, David Paradise, Chris Quintos, Regina Scully, Jennifer Wilson, Jamie Wolfe, Gabrielle Union, and Holly Shakur Fleischer. Lachlan Milne handled cinematography. Oriana Sadu edited the piece. Production design was Eric Louise Robert and Tommy Love. Costume design, we have Fernando A. Rodriguez. The Animal Collective were down with the music. And casting was Kim Coleman. Okay. So the cast, well, Ellis French is played by Jeremy Pope. His mother, Inez French, is played by Gabrielle Union. We then have got Laws, who's played by Bokeem Woodbine. Rosales, played by Raul Castillo. Harvey, played by McCaul Lombardi. Brooks, played by Nicholas Logan. Ishmael, played by Eman Esfandi. Castro, played by Aaron Dominguez. Bowles, played by Aubrey Joseph. Label, played by Andrew Kai. Seamus, played by Tyler Merritt. Colonel Casey, played by Steve Mockcat. The chaplain is played by Win Reichardt. Bam Bam, it's played by Eddie Miggy Plaza. Maya is played by Crystal Labeglia. Cassandra, played by Alex Mugler. The veteran we see is Reginald Murray. Opioid addict is Chase Van Velksborough. Graduation officer is Brad Knapp. And the PMI is Daniel Williams. Okie dokie. So the gist of the film, what is this thing about, you may ask? Well, a young gay black officer rejected by his mother and with few options for his future, decides to join the Marines, doing whatever it takes to succeed in a system that would cast him aside. But even as he battles deep-seated prejudice and the grueling routines of basic training, he finds unexpected camaraderie, strength, and support in his new community, giving him a hard-earned sense of belonging that will shape his identity and forever change his life. So, there you go. Now, Ellis in the production notes, Bratton, right? It's got an interview with him. And he talks about, making the movie, right? So he said this: I made this movie first and foremost to heal myself from things I had been through. And I think the one thing that was most damaging to me is the idea that somehow by being gay and black, I was basically a social pariah. The world had nothing to gain from me, so therefore I didn't matter. I didn't exist. Then I joined the Marines and learned that I'm important because of my ability to protect the person to my left and my right. And I felt um, like that lesson that you're only as important as your ability to protect others was really restorative for me. It gave me a purpose in life. And I feel right now, politically speaking, the world is paralyzing rapidly. I felt the lesson that I learned was an important one to share with people. You matter because you're in a community with other people, and you owe it to yourself to love yourself so you can be there for them. In the Republican Democratic stalemate that we appear to be struck in, this is an important lesson to put out in the world, an important message to share. But ultimately, sharing that helps me to accept that I've actually learned it and I've healed from that moment in my life where I felt like I was invisible and didn't matter. So yeah, that's what Bratton has to say. And at the beginning, we see him, you know, it looks like he's sleeping in a shelter, halfway home, that kind of thing, right? Doesn't seem to be working. He's got friends, but we see him go to his mum, and his mum, she's a police officer. She doesn't really. You can see there's shit there. Now, I would say we don't necessarily know that it's because of his sexuality, right? Because it could be at this point it could be a number of things, right? Because he's around drug users and things like that. So we don't know if he at some point was down with all of that. Parents do not dig staying out partying, all of that. So we don't really know, but we can definitely feel that there is something there, you know? And so there is this tension between the two. And he states, I'm gonna join the Marines. Now, we don't like the other thing we don't necessarily know, like what were the other avenues he maybe thought of? Like, did he try for other things and got turned out? Like, how was this the last resort? You know what I mean? I think that's kind of the thing that you wonder about, right? Because I think we sometimes will put ourselves in certain situations because we feel this is the only thing, right? So then you understand that you're going to put up with certain shit because there's not much else, right? This is the chance. This is the thing you have to seize onto. So I think that could have been useful, but it is what it is, because he gets into the Marines and all is fine. It's just a standard hazing until everyone realizes he's gay, right? And that's a problem. I think I don't know, right? Because you wonder, was it because of where it happened? Now, if they had been sitting around the table talking and it came out, now obviously there's going to be people that ain't feeling it, you know what I mean? Because that's it. There's homophobia, there's races, there's all of these things just in life in general. But in the way it did come out, right? You can kind of like, you get why people ain't gonna be too pleased, but it still doesn't. You know what I mean? That still doesn't warrant what then goes down, right? There's, there's often things people do, and you're just like, come on, man, what the fuck? But you're not gonna then go, right, now you can fuck off. I don't want to see you. You should die. You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, sort your shit out. Sort your shit. Come on. Come on. You know? But yeah, then everything goes south. Right? I think it would be interesting to know when this happened. Right? Because although, right, yeah, there's prejudice and racism and just all of those things. Everything, all those isms still exist. They're still prevalent. But we do, you do feel that certain attitudes, there are people that are accepting now. Like, it's not perfect. It's no way perfect, right? But you're possibly coming across more people that are not going to let certain things ride, you know? Like, there's, back in the day, right? I've been at work. I was doing, just tills, right? While I was at uni. And, had people come up to the till and be like, N-word, go back to your own country. And the managers just all stood there, all just stood there and let the shit happen. Now, you'd hope that was what, yo, 20 years ago, son. Fuck, that was 20 years ago. You'd like to think that shit would not go down now, right? I mean, there's probably some places where that shit will go down, you know what I mean? But you'd at least like to think there's someone who's going to be like, nah, yo, get the fuck back. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's one of those things where you're just like, okay, was this 20 years ago? Because it doesn't really seem that long ago that, it was officially, right? Officially stated that gay people are cool to be in the army. Because there was a thing where, what I mean, you couldn't, right? And this is the thing, because at the beginning, when they're joining, they are asked questions, right? Like, have you ever participated in terrorist activities? You know what I mean? Which you kind of feel, if you're a terrorist, you're just going to say no, right? It's not going to trip someone up and go, oh, yeah, actually, yesterday I was going to play. Like, fuck, he caught me. Right? The dumb questions, but they're asked that. And are you homosexual? Right? Which, again, if you are, you're not going to say yes. You know what I mean? Like, because you would know that, yeah, it's frowned upon, right? So you're just gonna be like, no, people don't need to know my shit. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go do this thing, right? So that is us. So it's not current times, right? So you kind of wonder when exactly. They talk about, I think, going over to Iraq, but that still, but yeah, it's just the attitudes and the hazing and just all of this kind of thing are going down, and you feel it, right? You feel the people, like, his fellow recruits, right? The gazes, the some have got hatred, some are just trying to fit in, right? And so there's certain cats, right? I think if we think of Ishmael, right? There's a bit where you see Ishmael and he's looking, and right, that from the look, yeah, he wants to stand up for you know what I mean? He wants to stand up for French, but then you also know that he's facing his shit, right? So it's like, I don't need the hate. Right. So you see that, and you can see some other people who aren't necessarily comfortable, but are just going along, right? Going along with the crowd. So you get that sense, man. You really do. Which, to be able to create that, you know what I mean? That's impressive. because it's not a simple thing to portray, right? That sort of atmosphere. So yeah, we have that, but you know, the as the film goes on, you know, as mentioned in the synopsis, like you can see people putting certain things aside, right? Because it is about, yo, I'm going potentially into war with this person. I need to know that this person has got my back, right? Which is the crazy thing about being an arsehole. Because you're just like, when, you know what I mean? When shit's getting crazy and you've been a fucking dick to this person, are they gonna have your back? You know what I mean? Are they gonna rush to save you if you're in trouble? Right? That's the kind of, that's the weird shit. That's the weird shit here. But you know what I mean? We see these things happen. Now, there is one thing that goes down, which you are like, is this in Homie's head? Like, is this one of the dream type things, or did this happen? Like, but I think later on you understand, like, okay, that didn't happen. Well, even the later on thing, it could have still happened, because you see people, you know what I mean, be like, no, 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 that don't make me, you know what I mean? But we can see how he gets confused and he's trying to find that thing to hold on, because the relationship with the mother is just fractious as hell, you know. But all of these things, you know what I mean, they really do shine well. Right, we get some really solid performances here, right? You believe everything, you really do, which is, you know, in a fantastic job from everyone involved. And then there's a bit at the end, right? There's this conversation in the mess, right after graduation, and it's like, oh, like oh man, it just hits you like from the first bit to then the hoorah, right? All of that shit, right? It just straight resonates. It jumps out the screen at you. So, hey, this was really well done. It's you know what I mean? It's just one of them films, not the easiest thing to watch at times, just because of the shit that's going down. And you're just like, man, people should not have to put up with this. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's definitely something where I feel it's worth the watch. It's definitely worth the watch, people. And if you like, you know what I mean? Think of things like Men of Honor, right? Which are, I believe Bookham was in that one, right? Yeah. If you like stuff like that, then I feel The Inspection is gonna be for you, right? It is now available. I think it's on Prime, right? But yeah, you know, hit the links. It's all on the website, right? All that information is on the website, so you can check it out. But yeah, definitely a really solid feature debut from Bratton. You know what I mean? So it'd be interesting to see what he does next. But yeah, if you're looking for something to watch, people, then The Inspection, hey, not a bad way to go.